Stylish Naija YouTube channel. I want to say thank you to all of my subscribers. So guys, and today I'm going to be showing you how to draft a princess and dart and gown and princess dart and pattern. So I'm going to be using the pattern to cut out cut out a blouse here. So the first thing I'm going to do now, I'm going to draft it out. So I'm going to make I would have said let me just cut it straight, but it's good for you to see it clearly. So that's why I'm going to draft it on this pattern and paper, and then I'm going to transfer it to the fabric, and then I'll show you how to couple it also on the blouse. So if you are new to my channel and you haven't subscribed already, I would appreciate if you would subscribe and then hit on the bell just to get an update when I load a new video. So that's just like basically the essence. I always like saying that word. So I have my back and front pattern here, so I'm just going to put on the back and pattern. So I'm going to be making use of my basic and bodice and pattern. So it's really simple and easy. So we're just going to draft and straight. So I have some couple of lines here. So the first line I have here, this is like my shoulder line. It's just like a start line, and then this is my bust line, this is my under bust, and then my waist line, and then this is the full length of my blouse. So I'm going to show you and the measurement so you understand. So from your shoulder to your bust band, so you measure your nipple points, that's your bust and line. So mine is 10 inches, so this is my 10 inches, that's my bust line. And then from my shoulder to my under bust, that's where the cup of your bra stops, that's your under bust, so this is it. And then my waist line, and then my full line. So we're just going to get started. Like I said, it's really simple and easy to pattern a princess dart. So the first thing we're going to do now, I'm going to measure out my shoulder measurement, and the shoulder measurement that I'm using is 14. So when you divide 14 into 2, you have 7. This is 7 inches. I'm going to add 1.5 inch allowance to it. So from this point now, I'm going to measure 8 inches. So that 8 inches is going to serve as my chest and line point, and then it's going to still serve as my under bust line. So I'm just going to connect the lines together like this. So this is going to serve as my armhole line. So because this is a bust here, so I'm going to add some allowance to it, so to make it in order for you to understand. So the next thing I'm going to do now, from this point I'm going to measure out my bust span measurement. Bust span is from one nipple to another. So I have a measurement. All these measurement that I'm calling, for those of you that don't know how applicable they are, I'm going to drop the link on how to take accurate body measurement. I'll drop it on the description box. So once you watch it, everything I'm saying will not be abstract to you. Abstract. So you understand it better. So my bust span for this princess dart is actually 4.5 inches. It's actually 4.5 inches. So I'm going to add half an inch to it. So I'm just going to take it on my bust line, on my waist, under bust line, and then on my waist line like this, on my waistline. So I'm going to connect with a straight ruler like this. So I've connected them together. So the next thing I'm going to do now, I'm going to come to this point, and then I'm going to take out my shoulder slope. So shoulder slope, you can use 1 inch, you can even make use of half an inch. So I'm just going to slant it up to this point. So I have my shoulder slope already. So the next thing I'm going to do, I'm going to take half of my armhole and line from the top part, from the slope and part, like this. So this is the half. And then the next thing I'm going to do now, from this point, I'm going to create a line. Let it come to this point. So in coming to this point, so you can decide to do this. I can decide to go 1 inch upwards and then 1 inch and downward. So it depends. So this is just like to serve as a guide for you when you are curving out the bust here. That's the curve. That's what the curves. So that's just like a guide. So you can still decide to just make it like that. It will still be okay. So most times I normally do that. So from this point, I'm just going to mark like this to this point, and then I'm going to blend it. I'm going to create a curve. So I'm just trying to create a curve, you understand, to this point. So I'm going to use my pattern curve to blend it. I don't want it to be sharp. So the next thing I'm going to do now, I'm coming back to that point. So the next thing I'm going to do now, from this point now, I'm going to measure from my under bust line. Now I'm going to measure 2.5 inches. So this is like my 2.5 inches, and then I'm going to come to this point. I'm going to measure 2 inches. So this 2.5 inches is just to enable me and create a very good curve. So you see what I have. It's really simple and easy. So you see. So from this point now, I'm just going to take it down. So this line, I'm going to extend it. I'm going to extend this line. You can decide to reduce it. Most times, if I'm making a straight blouse, I always like reducing it. So what I'm going to do now, from this point now, I'm going to measure 4 inches. So I'm going to slant this line now. So you know those blouses that you will see that the down part will be a little bit slimmer than the center. So that's just what this will give to me. So you see what I have. So from this point now, this 2 inches that I did here, I'm just going to take it like this, and then I'm going to bring it down. So I'm going to create a very nice curve out there. So from this point, I'm going to take out that from this point also. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to come to this point. I'll measure 1 inch downwards, and then I'll measure another 1 inch upwards like this. So from this point, I'm going to use so I'm just going to do this. I'm going to blend it into this. Remember that 1 inch that I marked up here initially. This is the point. So I'm going to blend it up here, so it enters properly. And then from this one also, I'm going to blend it. So with that, so you have a good curve. So I'm just going to connect them now. So this part, I'm going to be cutting out on this center part. I'm going to be cutting out this part. So this goes up like this. It's not really entirely and straight like that. So from this point now, I'm going to extend this. I'm going to extend it. Remember these 2 inches. I'm going to extend this part by that 2 inches. So I'm just going to take my tape like this. I'll place it like this, and then I'm going to extend it because I don't want my bust here. I don't want it truncated. So I'm just going to do this now. I'll extend it to this point. So once I've extended this to this point, so this part, like I said, is cutting off. This is the part that I'm going to be cutting. This is the part that I'm going to be cutting. I'm going to be making use of this part like this. And then I've extended this one. So from this point now, I'm going to create out my armhole line. So you're just going to place your pattern curve like this. And then you're going to create out a clean, beautiful armhole. So you see, it is really simple and easy. So I'm going to take my ruler now, and then I'm going to join this line back together. So you see what I have now. So this part are the part that I'm going to cut off for the dart. So it's really simple and easy. So the next thing we're going to do now, we're going to take out our full and body measurement. So in taking out the full body measurement, the first measurement we're going to take out is the bust and dart. That's the bust measurement, which is 36. When you divide 36 into 4, you have 9 inches. So this is like my 9 inches here. And then I'm going to add this rough inch that is here, which is about 1 inch. I'm going to add it back into this point now. And then I'm going to add my regular allowance of about 2 or 3 inches. So it depends on how many inches you normally use for your allowance. So I'm going to add 3 inches to this point. So I'm going to, from this point like this now, for my armhole point, it's going to be like this. So the next thing I'm going to do now, I'm going to come to my under bust line. So remember this 2.5 inches that we took out, we're going to add it back. So my under bust is actually 30 inches. So when you divide 30, you have 7.5. So this is 7.5. And then the 2.5, that's this 2.5 inches. I'll add it back. And then I'm still going to add my regular and 3 inches or 2.5 inches, depends on how many inches, like I said. And then my waistline is 34. So I'm just going to add it. Sorry, it's 32, which is 8 inches. And then I'll add this 2 inches. You know, on the waist side I took 2 inches, so I'll add it back. And then I'll add my regular 3 inches allowance that I've been using. And then for the down part of my blouse, I'm going to, for the down part of my blouse, that's like my on top of my waist and line. So I'm going to add my measurement, divide it into 4, and then remember this, I'll add it back, and then I'll add my allowance to it. So I'm going to connect my lines now. So this is going to come like this. Now I'm just trying to do a rough sketch so you get it before I cut it out. So this is, here's what we're going to have. So I'm going to use my, so you see what we have. So when I'm transferring to my fabric, that's when I'm going to cut out my neckline. So but I'm just going to put it for you, so in order for you to understand. So you put any neckline of your choice. So I'm just going to use my regular 3.5 inches and width for my neckline, and then the depth of about 5 inches. So this is just like a standard and neckline. So but I'm not cutting mine out. When I'm putting it on my fabric, that's when I'll cut it out. So you see what we have. So this is just like the front of our princess and that and bustier. So I'm going to cut it out now. So I'm going to show you how to cut it out. The first thing I'm going to cut now, so this part, you are going to make sure it is blended. It should not be, it should be blended. It should not be sharp. So we have various ways of cutting this. So I have another pattern of this on my channel. So you see what I have. So sorry, excuse me, I'm trying to blend this part up. So this is the next thing I'm going to do now. I'm going to cut out this part. So you see what I have. So this was what I was telling you when I was saying, you saw the way I slanted this part. So because it is a straight blouse, because of this part that is slanted, the down part of my blouse is not entirely going to be flat. So it's going to open a little bit, just like a tiny little flare. It's going to be at the tummy area of my blouse. So that was why I did that. When I'm cutting straight blouses, I always like doing that. They are also nice for your Igbo blouse. Okay, so we're done with the front and pattern. So the next thing now, we're going to work on the back pattern. So the back pattern, you're just going to do your regular and basic and bodice and pattern, which I'm still going to drop the link on the description box for you to see. So I already have my neckline, and then I measured out my shoulder. I measured out the armhole just the same way we started. That's from here to this point for the armhole. These are my regular lines, my bust line, under bust line, waistline, and then my full length. So I measured them out, and then you are going to remember your zipper allowance. So my zipper allowance is already here. So I created my zipper allowance here. So my zipper allowance here, and then I took out my full body measurement. So these are the lines for the full body measurement. This is the allowance. So, and then now the next thing I'm going to do, I'm going to connect them together. So from this point like this, I'm just going to come like this. So you see I have my full dress. So the next thing I'm just going to do, I'm just going to add my dart to it. So you're going to determine the type of dart that you're going to do. So I'm going to do normal waist and dart on this. So I'm just going to come to this point like this. I'll use my bust span measurement, and then I'm going to add my dart on it, just my straight and dart for the back piece. Okay, so I have my back piece out here now. and then I have my front piece. So this I'm going to cut out and 2 pieces of this, and then I have my front piece. So the next thing I'm going to do now is just for me to transfer it to my fabric. I'll transfer to the fabric. So this is the lining that I'm making use of. I'm just going to keep it on the side, and then I'll transfer to my actual fabrics. So I finished cutting them, so I'm going to take them now. I'll iron my breast and pad on it, that's the chest pad, and then I'll show you how to join the front piece. Okay, so for our princess and darts and blouse, I'm going to show you how to join it now. So this is the lining, so I'm just going to show you with the fabric. So this is that's the back piece, and then this is the front piece. So I'll keep the back piece on the side, and then this is the front piece. So you're just going to open it like this. So for my princess and dart, most times I always like sewing from down. I always like stitching. I like stitching it from the down part. I'm just going to stitch it from the down, and then it comes up. So here is what I'm going to do. You're going to take the edges like this, place them together, and then I'll stitch. So when you get to the breast and point, that's the cup and part, here's where you are going to do a little manipulation. So you see what I'm doing. So you see what I have. So I'm just going to check to make sure I don't have. So you see it's really looking and good. So the next thing is just for you to iron it, and then you shape out your neckline, and then so this is how you actually do your princess dart and bustier. So you see it without anything, is standing properly and beautifully well. If you find this video helpful, I'm done with it. Please subscribe to my YouTube channel, and then share the videos with your friends. So thank you so much. I will see you in my next video. God bless you all.